All right. Hello and welcome to Ep.4 of the Sardonic Certs. I'm your host, Tommy, and this is Randy.
Hello.
And today we're going to get into Black Lives Matter and the police. Uh, Sorry about missing Saturday. What is today, Monday? Yeah, so,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, we might miss Saturday. I don't know. We might start filming more regularly. I'm not sure. I don't have, we don't have a super consistent schedule, but
It's
Sat-
only episode 4.
yeah, yeah. It might just be Saturdays or Sundays. We might start doing Wednesdays too, maybe. It
During the
depends.
week is better for me,
Yeah, yeah.
honestly.
So I might start doing like 2 episodes a week, and then I don't know. Having all three of us, like having all three of the serps together, probably isn't gonna happen too often. Like right now, partially because of the pandemic and shit, and partially because I'm like really busy now. But you know, uh, so and I've decided that we might just have two chill sections, like real fast, just a few seconds at the beginning after the intro and at the end of videos, just because why not?
Almost certainly. Have to
Yeah,
remind you more than once.
yeah, exactly. So, if you like the video, leave a like. If you like us, you can check out our other videos. You could
Definitely comment if you have anything to say.
Yeah, we're really small, so like basically right now any amount of interactivity, like if you have a question, you have a comment, anything, we
Like,
might
subscribe,
yeah,
share it. Sharing does the best if you
yeah.
like it.
Yeah,
So
we're small right now, so sharing's nice. But yeah, if you leave a comment, we'll most likely respond to it. If not the comment itself, then we might just make a video about it cuz that's just how it be. All right, and we're going to go ahead and get started with I guess Black Lives Matter and police, kind of recent news. This last like 10 months or so last year. Also just the kind of overall trends of like brutality and incompetence that's kind of been like the chronicles of American police at this point. And I guess we're going to go ahead and get right into Black Lives Matter, kind of their confrontations with police, kind of like their ideology, uh, things like that. We're just going to go ahead and get right into Black Lives Matter and kind of talking about them as an organization.
Yep. Okay, so with Black Lives Matter, it's the whole problem with the organization is that it's not really about race. That's just the very surface level issue that they're seeing because the racial issue gets a ton of exposure. The real problem is more about poverty.
Right,
For example, there's by the numbers literally more poor white people than there are poor black people in America, just because there's more white people. But
right.
that's
And
still
yeah,
not an excuse, to say that white people don't know what it's like to be poor.
and like overall, there's still more white people being shot and killed by the police, at least on average, every week, every day, whatever. Like it's still like I don't know. Even if you go by the numbers as they stand right now, it's not obviously police brutality. Police killing people and like accidents and like things like that. Obviously, that's not a purely racial issue.
Everything we're seeing is just an exposure kind of the poverty, uneducation, and then crime cycle.
Yeah, exactly. So, kind of to get more into that, part of the issue is that people say institutional racism, right? But what they mean with that, like what they mean and like what they talk about, is that the problem is literally in the schools. It's literally in the courts.
And it definitely is. If you look at a lot of inner city schools, they're basically like teaching the kids how a prison works before they go to prison. You know,
Yeah,
that shit has to end like fucking
right.
immediately.
And that's the kind of change that like I can understand
That's the change that
championing.
I want.
Right. But to say that like black or that cops specifically just go out and kill black people just all the time, like if that were the case, then like I think there'd be more than just anecdotal cases, or more than this and that happening, every week or month, considering that there's 360 million people.
So this year,
Oh, I didn't.
you did.
Oh, okay, okay, whatever. I'll edit
Let's
that out. That's fine. I'll just write it down. Go ahead and start. No,
there you
go
go.
ahead and start.
So this year alone, 287 white people have been shot and killed by the police, and 142 black people have been shot and killed by the police.
Right. So really the problem here, I think the problem with information even like being distributed is like while like say the white population is like what, like 62% now?
I'm not
No,
100%,
not that.
but
No, no, it's
it's
not
in
that
the
high.
60s.
Is it that high still?
It's still in the 60s, I think.
Okay, all right. Yeah, soon we're going to be a minority majority. Yeah, okay. So basically, we're talking about a ratio of, like, say, like the white population's like 6 to 10, and the black population's like 1 to 10, roughly, if you're rounding down.
Yeah.
And so basically, like, that shows you that, like, if it was, like, say, a purely racial thing, then I think the number would be a lot higher still. Of, like, it wouldn't be, I don't think that it would be more white people dying, if it was just a purely racial thing like that with police and force.
If it was really a white man's world and the cops were really just white supremacist racists, then yes, that's
Right.
That's how it would be. It would be like 20 white people and like 400 black people.
See, the problem of the issue is that it's not a purely institutional thing. It's more of like there are different demographics of people that live in different areas, and they're kind of effective. They're affected differently. Like, I will agree that the system is broken, and I will agree that the poverty and education cycle is, like, say, exploitative. But I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a racial thing. I would say that, like, the demographics of people, like, there is like, as much as there's like a trailer park culture, there's kind of a ghetto culture too. And I think in the inner city, I think the problems are worse. I think they're exacerbated because there's more people and things of that. And, like, there's just more people, less money, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I would say that really what it is that there's a terrible poverty and education cycle. And there are cultures of people that exist here, like in the inner cities and out here in these rural areas even, that, like, they don't want education. They don't think that education is necessarily a good thing. They don't have, like,
they don't see a point in it. They drop out by the time they can.
Right.
And just kind of fuck off and do drugs their whole life and then die when they're 30.
Right. I mean, I've seen it here. I mean, I know people that are my age that graduated the same year that, if you take a look at them, they don't look good.
They look like they're 5 years, 6 years older already.
Right. And those are the people that they didn't have a good support system at home. They didn't have, they didn't have money at home. They didn't have, like, moral values.
They had alcoholic or drug addicted, parents.
Right. So basically what we're seeing
they
here,
didn't hold a job.
Yeah, exactly. So basically what we're seeing here is that there is a population of people, the black community is certainly being exploited by these systems, and I would say that the problem is, like, per person worse. But I wouldn't necessarily think that system is designed in such a way to specifically, yeah, exactly. It is a problem, but it's not specifically designed to, like, for just the black community. The white community is, like, while I will admit per person not as bad, it's just the problems are slightly different.
So,
in some places, a black person is 5 times as likely to be killed by the police in an encounter.
Yeah.
Right. So what you see there is really the problem here is, like, basically it's poverty, and it's, like, as hard as it, as intangible as it is, and it's hard, like, there's no boogeyman when it comes to culture.
It's the fact that just a higher percentage of the overall black population lives in that sort of poverty cycle. And it's so concentrated and just straightforward, like prison or poverty to prison cycle in the cities just because it can be. It's harder to do that, outside of a city where you don't have tens of thousands of people packed into a square mile.
Right. And I think another thing that people tend to do, like with this organization and with people, is that they tend to kind of infantilize, like, both criminals and, like, people that have done wrong. Like,
or just any minority population.
Exactly. So, like, in the year of 2018, the black community did, I think, 10,000 more thefts than the white community, I believe. That's rounding, but it was roughly 10,000 more per, just in general, like, just straight numbers for that year.
Right.
So really, what you're seeing is a higher percentage of people, like, in a community, in a demographic.
It's just the culture. It's a culture issue.
Right. And actually, if you look at, like, the inner cities, like, while it is worse for minorities, it's because they're more concentrated there. Like, there's plenty of poor whites in the cities too. There's plenty of whites doing gang violence and stuff. Yeah, I used to live basically in downtown Cincinnati. So, I kind of seen. I wasn't there for very long, but I kind of seen that kind of thing come and go. But so it's more of an issue of just a system exploiting just basically the people that don't have enough, and
poor and the uneducated,
right?
The easiest people to exploit.
Yeah, the people incapable of social mobility, and, like, I'd like just to kind of get into it a little bit more about just police. Kind of the problem with the way that information is distributed is to kind of talk about the Breonna Taylor thing that happened in Louisville, Kentucky. Just to kind of get into that a little more, she wasn't killed because an officer specifically targeted her as a member, as like for a hate crime, essentially. She was a result of gross incompetence.
Yeah.
And like I will admit that like I've heard the stories essentially that it was kind of a black community anyway, and so the people that were being harassed by the police with the no knock warrants and stuff were like minority members. But like I don't know, it's like they weren't fired on per se, so it wasn't like an expressly racist act. It was just gross incompetence and the police being too militant in their actions.
Yeah.
It's not paying attention to protocol.
It's the fact that they're over policing and that they went to the wrong place. I'm not. Was it that they were sent to the wrong place, or that they themselves just failed to show up to the right address?
No, they were given the wrong address by like, they were
Okay,
apparently
so
they
were
had the
given
correct address,
okay.
but it was given incorrectly like down the line.
Yeah.
So
So
basically,
it wasn't. So they showed up to what they thought was the right place, but
yeah, exactly. But even
somebody
still,
up above them was
right,
incompetent, which is even worse.
right. So like even yeah, exactly. Even like that just means that it was purely an internal error, like at every step of the way, and it shows you that like I've heard like
There's
the
a
man.
serious lack of police oversight.
Yeah, exactly. So really, I think the issue should be body cams. Like, and honestly, I think the issue should be like in a true egalitarian movement here, especially when it comes to police violence. If you fix the problem of police oversight, it doesn't matter if a cop is racist; he'll get caught and tried all the same.
Yeah, a murder is a murder, whether it's a black person being murdered or a white person being murdered.
Like, if it's true that racists are more likely to commit these crimes, then if we simply fix the system in which they're allowed to do these things,
Make it impossible for them to commit a crime on duty like they're, supposedly doing all the time.
right?
Make that impossible for them so that we can catch them every
Right.
fucking time.
I would say more than one body cam. I want them being incapable of being turned off. I want it to be a crime for you to be on duty
I
if
don't
you don't have
necessarily
one.
know about more than one. What would you mean for more than one?
Like, maybe not more than one on their person. I want them to
Yeah.
at least have one good camera that's not, there's no way,
Oh, okay. You
it
mean
can fail.
each police officer is issued two.
Yes.
That way there's always a backup, so you don't have any fucking excuses.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% behind
Like, maybe
that.
there's some kind of protocol for, like, hey, I noticed that this one's off. It makes some kind of noise upon failing or turning off or whatever.
Yeah,
You're right.
well, of course it would alert.
Right, exactly, and then
It's
you
fucked
have
up.
to install the other one, like something like that. Even if it's not as good, like a backup system, always have a camera, always have a mic. If you're
just
on
issue
duty,
two of the devices. They're going to be little webcams with good batteries,
Yeah,
basically. They're
yeah,
not gonna
exactly.
you don't need it to be that fucking, complicated. You can just give them two.
yeah,
Like, we can just, if you go through their expenses and find out where all they're wasting their money on, because they do waste a shitload of money, you could probably take all that, make sure they don't do it again, and then put that towards the body cams.
right. Yeah, and you know what? Maybe in this video,
It's all about oversight. It's
yeah.
all about the police unions, trying to lobby for privacy. What?
yeah,
Are they?
privacy on public time.
Yeah, I guess they're afraid that you're going to look at their dick while they take a piss on duty.
Right, point it
That's
up.
probably what the fuck it is. Yeah,
Point it up.
it's always going to be pointed forwards. It's not going to look at your cock.
Right. Look, we've all been in there's you're in a urinal and there's no divider. Like there's like a weird disparity of height in the urinals.
Everyone
and stuff.
sees it.
Right.
If they want.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Look, we've all had to do like the hand cone before. It's happened. It works. It's okay. You'll figure it out, buddy. We can get through this together. Yeah. So, and just to kind of talk about defunding the police in general, just to kind of circle back again to Black Lives Matter and kind of what they're preaching now, the very idea of defunding the police, quote unquote, just taking away money for them as some kind of weird, tangible punishment, like
Instead of having an actual solution to the problem of police brutality, over militancy, incompetence, and a lack of oversight.
Right. Maybe a court system that doesn't just grossly favor people that have been shown to lie and things. Like, I don't know. I think
Maybe don't just allow police unions to exist. Maybe federal employees don't need unions because they're supposed to be treated to the fucking top standard.
Right. I think that if not in this video, we should do a video just kind of talking about like just how money works in government in general. Because in the government, money is it like people think
It's
like
wasted and fucking skimmed and just bullshit.
Right. Exactly. So people have this idea of money, like say like the police. They think that they have like a bank account or like a set of bank accounts or something where just all their money comes and goes and there's just clear records of that.
Whatever their idea is, it's grossly oversimplified.
Right. Honestly the issue again with like say the police having tanks, them being overstaffed, them being given trainings that are entirely unnecessary and violent.
Now,
16
see, if they actually had tanks, that'd be something that I guess I'd be,
they do in some
hesitant about.
places. In
Where?
Los Angeles, they have these like it's not technically a tank, but it's basically a little
Is
like
it an
UAV.
armored personnel carrier?
No. It's got
Does
a
it
big
have-
turret on the top. It's got like these weird track. It's not like
Well,
a track.
a lot of military vehicles, you have like you can put a turret on the top of it. Basically, any military vehicle. If they have a military,
they're specifically
vehicle,
anti-riot
Okay.
vehicles. Like they're anti-personnel vehicles.
Yeah, but they should have anti-riot equipment. It just shouldn't be like a tank with like a literal tank made for war, made for destroying other tanks.
Right. I mean, the
with
LA riots and the Detroit
explosive
riots and
fucking-
stuff.
Yeah.
They've basically shown us that some amount of like riot capability in things like them having like maybe not tear gas per se, but like
No, tear gas is effective.
area deniers, things of that nature, those walls of tasers and stuff like that.
Or the sound cannons.
Yeah, it seems like those things at this point are necessary because like
and also much less lethal than just bullets.
right. Like no matter the cause, rioting isn't okay, and like maintaining our system of law and order at all times should be something that the police do like all the time, regardless of the circumstances. Like right, like I don't know, like it, like that we'll talk about that too. Kind of Black Lives Matter. Like I understand that there's like a group of people on the right that like all they say is rioting's not okay. They're all criminals, and like they're
All
cool.
of them just fucking just mow them all down.
Yeah.
just end it right there. Just blow them up.
Right. Well, we're not talking about that
That's
so much
not-
right now.
yeah, bullshit. No, we're not saying that. We're saying use specifically the new advanced non-lethal methods to just assert state authority.
Right. And to talk more
Assert
specifically,
law and order.
right. And to talk more specifically about Black Lives Matter, essentially, since we're talking about that organization, we're going to talk a little more about them specifically. So part of their issue was that they kind of make this like this weird argument, like rioters got a point. Rioters got a point. So it's okay. It's okay. The police shouldn't stop them.
Right. That's like if you said, "Oh boy, that rapist sure had a bad fucking childhood.
Yeah.
Let's just give him 4 years. Just slap on their. I feel bad for him. He was abused as a kid. Makes fucking sense, doesn't it?
Right. So just I don't know. I think to talk kind of
You
more.
can't punish a group less leniently than an individual. Groups are fucking more powerful than individuals. You have to punish them harder. That's why the government has more fucking oversight than is held to a higher standard than people, because it's a giant organization with all the power in the world, basically.
Right. And the more people, the more culpable and stuff like that also. But so there's that. And so just kind of I'll just I'll keep this up. Okay. So I don't know. I think that that was a pretty good view into that. If at any point you want us to talk more about Black Lives Matter, police oversight, poverty on education, let us know. Right. So that was a pretty good view on that. We're probably going to do another video soon about similar things. Maybe about Trump, kind of pop news right now, stuff like that. Him having
Maybe,
coronavirus. Maybe we'll see what happens. I don't know. I feel like that's all being covered a lot at this point. And kind of what we're doing, we're not really covering like recent news too much. We're just kind of getting more into what's been going on and just kind of like identifying ideology and then trying to present like maybe a more nuanced view than choosing either side and just parroting their talking points.
Yeah, giving a full, thought out opinion rather than just partisan bullshit.
Yeah. All right, so unless we want to add anything else, that is going to be the end of episode 4.
Make sure to leave a like if you liked it. Leave a comment if you have anything to say. Subscribe if you liked the video, so you
Right.
can see everything we release.
You know what? And if you don't mind, go ahead and state, like, in the comment, like, if you want a response. I'm okay with some kind of dialogue. We can do something like that. If you like this type of video, if you liked us, check out our channel, hit the subscribe.
Please share it with your friends if you liked it. That
Right.
will help us the most at
Right.
this point. We're
you
so
like-
small. We're just we need every little bit helps.
If you liked us, share us on Facebook. If you hate us, then, call us whatever name you can think of and share us on Facebook.
That'll still help us. So
Right.
So
yeah, just share this
feel
video.
free to spread the hate.
Yeah, any press
Spread
is good
the hate,
press.
please.
Right. Thank you much. That's episode 4. Tommy signing out.
Yep.